Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm your presenter, Mervin. Thank you for joining us. In the headlines, government discusses its apprenticeship program one-on-one with Trafalgar residents. Mayor Irene John is proposing a vendor's arcade for the city, and the government of Mexico commits to $500,000 in trough system relief. We'll have details of these and other stories right after the break.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Trafalgar residents now have a clearer idea of how they fit into government's thrust to increase employment when they discussed one-on-one the recently launched National Employment Program on Thursday evening. Leading the discussion were the Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Employment Minister and the Parliamentary Representative, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre, Tourism Minister, Honorable Ian Douglas, and the Minister for Constituency Empowerment, Honorable Ambrose George, along with Alexander Stevenson, Executive Director of the Employment and Small Business Support Unit. Scores of residents turned out at the community center with the subject of employment and youth empowerment on their minds. Chairperson of the Trafalgar Shufford Forkani Village Council, Rosamond Roberts, on behalf of her fellow community members, was first to welcome the dignitaries to the Roseau Valley. She expressed appreciation for government's unrelenting attention to the global issue of youth employment. She also told residents to freely engage the ministers and experts in discussion. Parliamentary Representative for the tourist-friendly Roseau Valley, Honorable Dr. Colin McIntyre, acknowledged that an issue of underemployment in fact exists alongside unemployment in his constituency.
When we first looked at the problem with Dominica, and we speak of the Roseau Valley here, we realized that unemployment was a major problem, especially among our youth. And what we decided to do was to find the raw facts, the raw figures. And the raw figures taught us and showed us that there's some form of unemployment and underemployment too. And the word underemployment means that during the tourist season, and the Minister of Tourism will expound a little more on that, we have a lot of our people employed in the tourism. Now, during that season, when there's like a little period, or people go up a little bit, so I refer to that as underemployment and not total unemployment. Now, what I'd like to do with that, and I've always been advocating on that, is during the period where we have the cruise season, which is going to last for a period of time, the minister will explain that to us, and the period when we don't have it, I would like our people to revert to something in alternatives.
Honorable McIntyre is proud of the Labour Party government's title as the first regional government to establish such a comprehensive and costly project at this time of global financial difficulty. Honorable McIntyre went on to detail the aspects of the National Employment Program more relevant to the meeting on Thursday. One part of the program deals with placing college and university graduates in suitable positions, while the community outreach program allows for persons to establish their own community-based businesses with support from government. The constituency representative and employment minister also discussed the educational mentorship program.
We have the educational mentorship program, where we're going to select a college graduate from here, two college graduates, for example, a person from university, to come in here, back into the center and the schools here to teach our children in terms of the afternoon programs, homework, papers, this and that, in helping our students. So we're going to run a program here for our people as well too.
Towards the end of the meeting, when residents were invited to pose questions and concerns to the government officials, the question of the program's sustainability was asked. The Prime Minister and the Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, addressed that concern.
What we expect to happen is that gradually the system would absorb these people. So you have businesses which need people to work, but their challenge is that they don't have the money to pay them for the time being. And this is why it is very critical for those who are placed to be diligent Because it is based on how diligent you are that your job will be sustained. You understand? And we already have some people who are saying, who are speaking very highly of some of the placements and who have interest in the long-term employment of these people.
Honorable McIntyre also responded to that question. He stated that it is important for the newly employed to make indelible marks on their employers.
That you get an opportunity to put your foot, to put a print in somebody's institution, and you can make that institution grow. The employer will not let you go because you're a great asset for his program. So this is one way to answer this question. Of course, there are folks who would be older, they're retiring, the young folks coming in, they're very productive, they'll be absorbed into the program. Anyone who is productive, who probably there's some little challenge with the institution, whereby the institution cannot afford to keep them, we, government, we will definitely roll it over and will support the young person in that institution as well too. Our word is on that one for sure.
Coordinator of the National Employment Program, Gloria Joseph, also took to the floor to give data on the impact of the National Employment Program on the Roseau Valley.
We've had about, just on the registration side, 108 persons from the Valley registered, and we're netting about 50% of these already placed and looking at future placements. So this is indeed significant, and it's something that will bring a lot of benefits to the country because we're not just looking at one community, we're going across the communities in Dominica, and we're not just looking at the cream of the crop in terms of persons who have high academic qualifications. We're getting down to the grassroots as well, persons who may not have even completed primary school, persons who do not have the academics, but they have skill and they have passion and they have a desire to work.
Throughout the meeting, staff of the Employment and Small Business Support Agency made application forms and information pamphlets available. The government's National Employment Program was launched on December 2, 2013, with over 400 unemployed persons initially targeted. At that Trafalgar meeting on Thursday evening, the nation's Finance and Foreign Affairs Minister, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, announced that the government of Mexico has promised to assist in recovery efforts from the Christmas Eve trough system. According to Honorable Skerrit, the Mexican government has committed to a $500,000 donation.
We have spent a considerable period of time, a considerable amount of time, cultivating relationships out of Dominic. People who can, when something happened to Dominic, can reach out to Dominic and say, because we are friends, I am giving you this. We have the minister, the foreign minister of Mexico, who is coming into Dominica tonight to meet with us, sent by his president to visit Dominica because of the extraordinary relationship which exists between Dominica and Mexico. And I met the president of Mexico in Cuba last week. And as a result, he sent his minister here to meet with us. And Mexico has announced to us in writing that they're making an initial contribution in response to the trough in the amount of $500,000 to assist.
On the subject of the trough relief efforts, Honorable Skerrit told Roseau Valley vendors that they have been identified for financial assistance.
I have asked, on the request of the Minister for Employment, your Member of Parliament, that from this month end, we shall make a contribution, make a contribution to the vendors, a financial contribution to the vendors, those who have been affected by this breakage in the bridge. And of course, the entire Roseau Valley vendors, tourist vendors, will benefit from this financial contribution. And it will be for a period of some months. So I'm sure the Parliament will meet with the vendors later on and speak to them to the details of this and so forth. A little effort towards bridging the gap that has been created as a result of the challenges which we have.
Mexico's Foreign Affairs Minister, who arrived on the island on Thursday evening, met with Honorable Skerrit on Friday morning. The Foreign Affairs Minister headed a delegation to Dominica to hold high-level discussions with Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit and the Minister for Foreign Affairs and other government officials. The meeting took place at the Fortune Hotel on Friday. The visit by the Mexican Foreign Minister comes on the heels of a meeting between Prime Minister Skerrit and the President of Mexico in Cuba recently. Members of the Dominican delegation included Honorable Dr. Colin McIntyre, Minister for Employment, Trade, Industry and Diaspora Affairs, the Honorable Alvin Bernard, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Steve Farrell, and Karen Prevost, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Lucian Blackmore, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, Energy and Ports, and Don Corriott, Disaster Preparedness Coordinator. In other news, Mayor of the City of Roseau, Her Worship Irene John, is suggesting a vendors arcade to deal with the issue of disorganized and unauthorized vending on the streets of Roseau. The mayor expressed her intention on Thursday, February 6, at the press conference which was held to launch a campaign to keep the streets of the city clean. Her Worship John highlighted that this move will certainly benefit the vendors while giving buyers easier access for shopping at a central location.
We are giving very, very careful thought at having a special location for the vendors, have them in an organized area, and that will be like the vendors arcade. Instead of walking all around Roseau to look for a pair of jeans or looking for something, you know, you go to that location and you will meet, you'll get what you want there. It will be better for them because they'll be able to advertise their commodities in a better organized area, you know, and feel comfortable. You don't have to rush or to try to pull tarpaulins when rain is falling, you know, and to try to secure your thing. If you have it in an organized place, you know, well, at the end of the day, you know, you put your stuff together until next morning. And that is the whole intention.
Mayor John was adamant that her intentions is solely for a more organized city.
I need the vendors to understand me very, very clearly. I, for one, or the council, by no means want to take bread out of anybody's mouth. The idea is to have an organized city. Instead of having a piece of plastic here, there, and all over the place, let us work together as a team. I'll be very happy, the council will be very happy, if all the vendors would get together, put their heads together, and let us say, well, let us, you know, work with the council and, you know, to make Roseau, you know, a more beautiful city than it is.
Meanwhile, the mayor is also suggesting a location to give attention to the many vagrants who roam the streets of the city.
We need now to pay special attention to the vagrants because this is becoming a very, very, very troublesome area. And it would appear that some of us or some persons are scared to take action to deal with the vagrants. And every day we see a new one on the block. And it is creating a very, very big problem. And the quicker we can deal with it is the better, you know, we can curb some of the problems that exist in Roseau. We need to have them in an organized place where they'll be taken care of, they'll be fed, they will have a bath, and there'll be persons taking care of them. That is the whole intention. You know, at least they will have a shower, they'll have a proper meal, and you know, well, you have persons taking care of them. That is the intention, because at the end of it, they're somebody's child, some person's children, and they're human being. It's not to just dump them aside.
She added these individuals are sometimes used to perform criminal acts in the city, such as disposing garbage in unauthorized places. The committee formed to launch a campaign to combat littering in the city is comprised of the Roseau City Council, the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, the Roseau Market Authority, the Police Service, the Environmental Health Department, and the Discover Dominica Authority. Meantime, Bristol Lawrence, manager of the Solid Waste Management Corporation, firmly states that there is no excuse for littering in the city of Roseau. Lawrence made this statement at the press conference on Thursday, where various stakeholders stated their intention to embark on an anti-litter campaign in the city.
The excuse for litter in the city is zero. And we will ensure that together with the police, the monitoring officers, the environmental health officers, that will increase the patrol of the streets to ensure greater compliance. Further, we are making a special call to all to have some more pride in the city and be responsible for your litter. Look for the bin.
The Roseau City Council, Dominica's Solid Waste Management Corporation, the Environmental Health Department, the Roseau Market Authority and the Discover Dominica Authority have joined forces to start a campaign to keep the city clean. Lawrence said that the Dominica Solid Waste is happy to be a partner. He wants everyone to be aware of the corporation's garbage collection schedule for the city.
Waste in Roseau is collected from residents on Mondays, Wednesdays and Saturdays. There is a special collection service from Monday to Saturday for businesses who have no form of transportation of getting their waste to the landfill. Those businesses can sign up with the corporation for this service for a very reasonable cost. There is also over 60 litter bins which are located along the sidewalks, making it easy for users of the town to place their litter while they traverse the city.
Lawrence made a special appeal to business owners in the city to properly dispose of the garbage.
I would like to send a special challenge to all business owners to take responsibility for your garbage, ensuring that it is placed in a proper storage area, placed out for collection in the right days and time, ensuring that it gets to the place intended for disposal and not be giving it to someone for disposal who is not authorized.
The improper disposal of garbage is an eyesore and poses health threats for the residents and visitors of the city. Lawrence says if all citizens play their part, then the city can be kept clean, safe and attractive, a model city for the benefit of all. Residents of the city of Roseau are advised that due to the opening of the Carnival Parade on Saturday, February 7, garbage will be collected by solid waste on Friday, February 6. The Ministry of Education has given the all-clear for students attending the Roseau Primary, Newton Primary and Orion Academy to attend classes on Monday, February 10, 2014. More in this statement by Chief Education Officer Melina Fontaine.
The Ministry of Education, we wish to inform the parents of Roseau Primary School, Newton Primary on Bath Estate Campus and the Orion Academy that school reopens for their students on Monday the 10th February at the usual time. The Ministry of Education, with support from the Forestry Division, Ministry of Health and the Ministry of National Security, we have gone ahead and we have treated the mold. We have had the Forestry Division cut the trees that were overhanging on the buildings and preventing the sunlight from coming in. We have also taken care of the debris and cleaned and sanitized inside and outside of the classrooms. School environment is now ready for the students. Today, Friday, we have had the principals and the teachers at the school preparing their classrooms and putting everything back in order. And so definitely school is on Monday at the usual time. We want to thank the parents for your patience. Your students have been out of school for almost 2 weeks and we will ensure that they make up for the hours that they have missed. And so once again, we give you the assurance that we will do everything in our power to keep your students safe, healthy and secure and to ensure that they are successful at what they do.
We now join Tasia Floissac for this week's edition of Flashback.
Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback. In the headlines this week, Dominican and certified aquaculturist Jeffrey Bruni returned home this week with plans to modernize agriculture with a hurricane-resistant farming model. Bruni is actively working toward a partnership with government and the Ministry of Agriculture to use this plan to revolutionize agriculture. Government has committed $1 million for a modernization and sanitation project which will assist citizens across the country in upgrading their washroom facilities. This initiative was taken to allow citizens the benefits of modern washrooms and eliminate the use of pit latrines on the island. Over the weekend, the Dominica Social Security celebrated its 38th year of operations in Dominica. The institution chose to observe this year's anniversary with a health walk held under the theme, Creating Awareness for Combating Chronic Non-Communicable Diseases. Additionally, 27 persons have been adequately trained to now form the Grand Fort Rosalie Disaster Response Team, which can be relied on for credible information and dedicated support in times of disaster. This project was funded by the Global Environmental Fund Small Grants Program of the UNDP and supported by the Dominica Red Cross. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, is impressed with the Dominica State College management team for maintenance of the new institution. The institution was funded through a $30 million concessionary loan from the China Export-Import Bank. Also this week, Parliamentary Representative for the Petit Savan constituency, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, announced that government will soon award 2 contractors to conduct road repair work on the Petit Savan Road, which was promised by the Prime Minister last October. Gemma Azil Lewis, coordinator of the Child Abuse Prevention Unit, reminded the nation that the issue of child abuse is still very much a concern in the authorities' minds. She says neglect and emotional abuse are the most prevalent and urged individuals to report suspected cases or incidents of abuse. And finally, the 2014 Carnival season officially kicks off with the opening parade on Saturday, February 8th. Held under the theme No Cornet Vive, Mass Domic 2014 promises to continue being tagged as enhancing Dominica's tourism product. Those were the headline stories which made the news this week. Back to you, Mervin.
McPherson St. Luce is up next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, plusieurs coopérations venues ensemble pour établir un comité qui prend responsabilité pour mettre mise en place, qui concerne propre pour ville Roseau. Geno Jacob, c'est officier de relations publiques pour le comité salaire.
Nous avons des meetings dans différents parts en Roseau et puis en PA système. Nous avons éduqué les gens, nous avons joint patrol et puis police et puis environmental health department pour faire certain que nous pas seulement bas mon ticket mener mon la loi devant l'office mais faire certain que mon tape commission que nous supposé chaîne Roseau net et puis nous supposé c'est mon qui va vendre à ce territoire supposé servir la place là parce que la place là pour ça vendre un produit donc garder pour placer un billboard à ce dépôt pour qui a monté Roseau et puis pour qui a sorti ville Roseau bah information comme ça la moun ka monté Roseau ka sorti Roseau que voir bonne information ça la ka dit chaîne ville Roseau net et puis propre.
À la nouvelle, Mass Dominica ouvert samedi, semaine salam, et puis police quand informé public là, différents wèg qui mettent en place pour moun garder voiture en parmi d'autres bagailles. Parole celle-là sorti au superintendent police David Andrew.
Assis Rolls Lane, assis Liblan Lane, qui a commencé à 11h samedi, qui a venu assis le 8, pièce moun pani pour parquer voiture assis chemin ça. Charles Avenue, ça c'est chemin qui a sorti l'hôpital, qui a descendu bon DBMC. Pièce moun pani pour parquer assis chemin ça. Et pour ces moun ça qui a servi boss, car nous avons dit qu'il y a un changement pour boss là. Boss stop, Soufrière et puis La Pointe. Nous avons mis dans en place Virgin Lane et puis Cross Street et puis Independence Street. On n'est pas là à Virgin Lane. C'est là qu'il y a parqué pour ramasser mon lot à ces boss yo. So boss stop ça a changé, nous voulons dire ça encore. Boss stop pour La Pointe et puis Soufrière, il a changé, nous avons mis là et ça le changement a commencé à 1h et puis il a allé jusqu'à 6h. So se place ça nous nommé là qui yo kay servi pour ramasser moun et puis pour mettre moun à terre. Donc amade tout moun qui ka Côte d'Ivoire pour ba police la support pour tout bitin marché au fin et puis pour bitin marché à la paix.
En d'autres nouvelles, compagnie Petro-Caribe a dépensé l'argent ou là, il a sponsor 3 participants en spectacle national l'année 2014. Si l'on manager La Place Ian Pinard, Joel Brown hod la Pointe, Octavie Prosper hod la Plaine, et puis Roy Laurent hod Guantans, quand a sponsorship compagnie Salam. Pinard fait parole comment il bien satisfait pour première fois, il a sponsor national, et puis qu'a gardé devant, ces 3 participants là, fait compagnie la garder bon. Pinard aussi fait parole que Petro-Caribe, qu'a one si pour spectacle maman, et puis spectacle State College Dominica. Si l'on monsieur Pinard, compagnie là a déjà dépensé à peu près $200 000 en célébration carnaval en 3 l'année. En autre nouvelle, Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation a annoncé service neuf pour ramasser bagaille recycling. Corporation là aussi voué en voiture au gouvernement Japan qui a servi pour opération cela. Monsieur Florian Mitchell, c'est manager pour opération cela.
Nous avons un camion, en voiture. Nous avons l'embassy Japan pour masser bagaille comme pan, plastique, bouteille, Penville, Plasco Penville, Cassibus, Carib Territory, Grand Fond. Chocolat qui a passé en ces places-là, qui est massé, c'est qualité matériel, ça là. Nous avons recyclable matériel. Chocolat qui a passé des fois par mois. Et nous avons still essayé de voir l'autre voiture en ces places-là pour masser les ordres qui ne comprennent pas. Mais ça nous a demandé ces gens pour la voiture a passé pour amasser recyclable matériel. Nous avons demandé pour mettre recyclable matériel en plastique blanc. Et bien, clear plastics. So, tout fruta, bouteille ketchup, tout bouteille comme ça, nous avons ça recyclable matériel. So, nous avons dit public là pour mettre ça dehors en clair et bien sac blanc. Et bien, Zodi, ou pas ça mettre dehors en recyclable, nous avons demandé pour mettre en sac noir. Et bien, il y a une voiture qui a passé pour masser sac en sac noir. Et bien, il y a une voiture qui a passé pour masser sac en sac blanc.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson Luce. Ni un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Together we build, together we strive. We see it all on your Government Information Service, Channel 7. This is the Government Information Service, bringing you all that you need to know about all that's happening in your country's development. GIS, you and your channel.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin. Have a great weekend.